And we got some info on the Will of D in this chapter. Oda keeps on going strong. Let's go. So a good portion of this chapter, aside from the stuff dealing with Law and Doflamingo, it felt like it was kind of updating us on things, kind of reminding us on who's fighting who, because we did have a flashback for a little bit of time. So I think one of the purposes of this chapter was definitely to do that, but still showcase progression at the same time. So if that was the mission that Oda was trying to succeed with this chapter, then he definitely succeeded, because it did progress. The Law versus Doflamingo fight got a big bombshell in a sense regarding the Will of D, but at the same time it was giving some recap and updates on who's still fighting and whatnot. So Law says, I will feel free when I finally accomplish what Corazon set out to do and stop Doflamingo. And if you notice, I mean, at the end of the day, it's no need to be said, I guess, but at the same time, it's very just due. Law is basically rubbing everything in he can do to Doflamingo. This is like, every little fucking payback I could do to you for what happened to Corazon, I'm gonna make sure I give it to you. Oh yeah, you know that Monkey D, you don't like that, right? You don't like that, right? So you can definitely see that this is just pouring out every ounce of Law. Not only is he going hard as fuck in the fight, but you can tell that the hatred is strong. I think the characterization is being done very well as far as just the anger of Law, that he's just spilling it all out as he's fighting. And the thing about it is, though, it was starting to get a little closer into the whole Will of D and this and that, because for starters, Doflamingo, and it was a little bit confusing with this translation, so forgive me if I'm off about something, but he was talking about descendants of the gods, so I'm guessing that the celestial dragons or whatnot are descendants of gods. And the Will of D, because he said, quote, in a place far away lived a group of people called the family of D, God's natural enemy. So if he's a descendant of the gods, and the Will of D and the D users are the descendants of this family that lived long ago, far away or whatever, then this is why they should clash. Although, I think Doflamingo, while he slightly fears it in a sense, also wants to put on a facade that he doesn't believe in it, because later on he starts talking like, oh, that hocus pocus bullshit. So you can see part of him probably is afraid of the D's, and that's why he wants to get rid of them. That sounded so wrong. And I think that was one of the most important things that we got from this chapter, finding out more about the D's and that this family long ago, and they're kind of like natural enemies to the celestial dragons. And that's probably why the celestial dragons feel that way, because yeah, we've gotten a little bit of backstory on some of this prior to this chapter about, you know, them long ago and everything, but that's probably why they have this power and the stature, because long ago, these gods, so to speak, the celestial dragons, you know, their ancestors, were probably so goddamn strong. And even though the celestial dragons aren't strong, because a lot of them are weaklings, I mean, look what Luffy did to that one motherfucker, knocked him the fuck out. Ultimately, that's why they were able to live to this day and be spoiled brats and everything, because of what their predecessors had done. And based on this one, you can tell if they went to war back in the day, unfortunately, it seems as though maybe the D users lost. It seems as though possibly those gods eventually were able to defeat them. However, they probably wanted to cover all this up, so they never wanted anybody to find out about these D users, so another war never erupts again to take them out. And in all honesty, even though that was a small portion of the chapter that just connects so much to the grander scheme of things, that I was just like, it's not the biggest, you know, part of the chapter. That was only a tiny piece of everything else that was going on, but damn, Oda, damn. And then the progression at the end of the chapter with Law, even though he's been struggling in this fight, and to be honest with you, I'll give my take on it in a second. He got that injection shot at the end showing that he's not backing down, and the counterattack begins, so he's definitely giving it his very last win of everything he got. It's not on that knock him a power-up shit. It's basically like, you're fucking pissing me off, I'm gonna give it one last go, although he's still getting fucked up in the process. So it's like, he's not getting, oh, I'm gonna beat you up, you know, on some, my friends are helping me and everything, but he is trying his damnedest. And the thing about it is, to be honest with you, without Luffy here right now, because he got knocked out the window, I don't know, a bunch of chapters back or whatever, this is looking scaresome, because even though he got that injection shot at the end, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Trebol and Doflamingo were able to take out Law before Luffy gets back. I mean, things is looking grim. Even though he got that shot in at the end, which means Law ain't down for the count completely, ultimately, I don't know if that's gonna, him by himself, be enough to be able to take out Doflamingo. Him and his anger and trying to get his vengeance by himself, I don't know if he could do it, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised, and I'd be sad as fuck, and this would be on some I don't know quite the level, but definitely close to the ace level with his death. Like if he gets killed prior to Luffy getting there, just in time Luffy makes it while Law's about to die, that would be sad as fuck. But I just don't see him being able to take out Doflamingo and Trebol without Luffy. And all those bits were definitely the good parts of the chapter. Aside from that, again, a lot of updates on things that we already know. Zoro's still fighting Pika. Frankie's still fighting Senor Pink, which, oh my gosh, like the Zoro versus Pika fight, I'm sure has been probably just as long as the Frankie versus Senor Pink fight or whatever, but that seems like a more fun fight to watch, and I wish we would get more glimpses of it. But I don't know why Frankie and Senor Pink are still fighting. That fight has been going on way too long. And then the Diamante versus Kido's fight is going on as well. I think some of these fights should start wrapping up like ASAP because they've been going on for a while. Or if not the fights, at the very least the Tontada Mancherry shit. Like, I don't like the Tontadas. Get rid of their fucking subplot already for finding Mancherry and whatever fucking thing that her ability is. Like, can we at least solve that quickly ASAP? Can we do it in like 2 or 3 pages? I know that is rushing it, but personally, just, you know, stating this is a bias. My bias in there is that I don't want to see the Tontadas. So please, let's finish that up. And with all that being said, pretty damn good chapter. If it would have focused more on the Law versus Doflamingo stuff and X out some of those updates and recaps or whatever, it would have been a great chapter. But since it did have some of those bits kind of recapping and refreshing everyone's memories and whatnot, it was a pretty good chapter still nonetheless. So I'm going to give this chapter anywhere from, I want to say between 7.5 to an 8. I'm torn between where it's good or very good. I mean, that was a huge bombshell, you know, regarding getting more into the Will of D and these families that clash and the descendants, so maybe a very good, I think. Even though the other bits kind of knock it down from being, you know, perfect or great or anything like that, I still think it deserves a very good because we're diving more into the major things. The Will of D, these descendants, the gods, is like a lot of different things are starting to pop up, and I'm glad that Oda isn't just, you know, making it contained all into the story of this arc. He's actually going into the bigger things that we care about, and that's very good stuff. So an 8 out of 10. But let me know what you thought of this chapter. First of all, do you think that Law has a fighting chance? I mean, he's fighting for his life, and even though he got that injection shot, I still don't see him winning this one without Luffy's help. I mean, Trebol's right there. If things go really, really bad, Trebol can jump in always. Even if he knows Doflamingo will kill him in the end because Doflamingo want to do it himself, ultimately he could jump in and save Doflamingo, and they could possibly double team him. And what do you think about this whole thing with the Will of D finding out about this family and the clashes that they had with these gods and these descendants and everything? This madness right now that Oda dropped on us. Here we'll throw a chapter. Pretty fucking kick-ass with Law going in. I'm just like so scared right now. Don't die on us. You have to fulfill Corazon's dream. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you can do so as well, that'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.